never doubt that we'll fight this fight again.
Yeah.
Don't take our kindness for weakness.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching Hot Flashes and Cool Topics podcast. Be sure to subscribe and ring that bell to catch all of our conversations. Now, on to the show. Welcome back to Hot Flashes and Cool Topics podcast, everybody. We today have back with us Kim Franklin and Tammy Boyd Franklin, and they were plaintiffs in the Marriage Equality Act. So, welcome back.
We're excited to be back. I mean, like you say, 10 years now from the five. It
Crazy.
was
It is
quite,
crazy.
it seems like it's longer, but yet it's shorter.
It is. I mean, I really feel like we just had you on.
Yeah.
It seems like, we're going to review, what your journey and what you did. But also, it just seems like when we spoke to you 5 years ago, it seemed really upbeat. And now it
Yeah.
doesn't seem as upbeat. So we're going to address that as well. But so, yeah, so I knew Tammy pretty much since I was in elementary school.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. And to think that I know someone that actually went to the Supreme Court and actually had the law of the land changed still like blows my mind. It
Right.
blows my mind. Yeah, it really
Well,
does.
we love friends that understand that. So
Yes.
that's a good
Yes.
plus. No, we met and, reunited again. She worked for my mom at Purnell's. Um, we started talking again at the store where I worked. She started coming in. It was a whole flirtation thing. I think it was a flirtation thing when she worked with my mom, but back then it was still hush hush, so but it was still there. We still kind of made eyes at each other and I knew I was gay then, just couldn't come out. Just there was no way. And she was always gay, as we call it. What is it, Gold Star gay? Is it?
Because yet,
And
Tammy, when you told me that last interview, I had no idea that you knew your whole life that you were
yeah,
gay.
and I did,
Yeah.
and I had a really horrible childhood. That's a whole nother story. But so, my way of being who I was, uh, I knew it was easier to get out of my house with a man than it would be to try to find,
Yeah.
and come out. So getting out was my way of getting with men
Hmm.
to get out of my situation because I knew I was gay and it wasn't going to be that easier. It's better to get out first with what I really didn't want and everybody else accepted. So I went on with life with that way. But yeah, I knew I had a crush on her when she worked for my mom. And we just, she didn't know it. Of course, a lot of people didn't know. I kept it to myself. But when I was 12, I knew. And so we went on with life, and then we hooked back up again when she came to my store, and she did the flirting thing, and then this was my time where I was like, I'm writing a letter. I ain't even gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna write it all out because I had so much built up from my life, and I'm like, I'm just gonna diarrhea mouth this whole letter and let her know everything that I'm thinking and feeling and all that. And I did. I just wrote it out. So and she was coming into the store more than usual. So, I thought, oh, well, this is what it's supposed to be. So I gave her the letter and I thought, well, it's either going to go bad or it's going to be good. And she came back the next day with the letter going, okay, let's talk. So, and I'm like, oh gosh. And she waited for me to get off work. And that was the start of every day speaking to her, talking to her, connecting with her. And it was just, that's how it was. And it fell straight into place.
That's
Well,
awesome.
Yeah.
gay into place.
Place is place, wherever that may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why, Kim, why was it important for you to have a marriage that was recognized first by the state and then eventually by the federal government?
Well, for me and for us, it was about a couple things. One, from a health standpoint, if anything were to happen to either one of us, we wanted to be able to make our own decisions. Both of our families were supportive of us, but still, when it comes down to it, and there's maybe some hard decisions that have to be made, it was important for us that we made them for each other, that somebody else didn't make them for us. That was one. The other issue was I did come out earlier than her. Um, and it was pretty much known for years that I was gay even before I came out. And I wanted it to be better for kids behind us. And like she said, she knew she was gay early on, but didn't feel comfortable coming out. So we wanted
Yes.
those who came after us to have an easier path. And we were at a Pride event a couple years ago, and somebody introduced us to a younger lesbian couple, as the marriage equality plaintiffs. And they really didn't even know what that meant. And the people that
Yeah.
introduced us were shocked. And they were shocked at our reaction. And they said, "Doesn't that bother you all that they don't even know who you are?" And we said, "No, that was exactly the point."
Yeah.
That marriage and love was just that. It wasn't gay marriage, it was married.
Right.
And the point was that it wasn't that big a deal. So the fact that younger people didn't really know who we were,
it means that it has
didn't
been
offend
started
us.
accepting and acceptance of, people
Right.
accepting the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted.
It's so interesting that, I mean, when you look at it like that, and I feel like Colleen and I always say, even in the menopause world, we want our people to know, oh yeah, that's easily talked about. Like, yeah, we know what that is. That's not hush hush.
Yes.
And this should not be hush hush. This should not, just golly, just it's always puzzling to me that people are so concerned about what happens in another couple's personal life.
Yeah, that's what Kim doesn't get. And it's like,
yeah,
the part that we do in our bedroom is not even us. It's just, it's not what we were trying to show the world.
right.
That shouldn't even be a thought in people's head.
Right. I'm like,
we don't do it to the heterosexual,
right.
Same.
As long as nobody's being abused, then it's
Yeah,
none of our business.
Right.
It's none of our business. And it is amazing.
And that's
to
vice
me.
versa. It's not
Yes.
just this gay thing,
We hear Colleen and are outside of Nashville, and even where we are, some of the now we have neighbors that are gay, but it's I know it's very hard for those couples in our neighborhood. I know it is. And it just blows my mind. I don't know what it is, because I know that this is a very religious area where I live.
Yeah.
And somehow that is becoming conflated with everything.
Oh my gosh.
They put that in there when they have no idea that these are the most loving, kindest people that would do anything for you.
And human.
Right, exactly.
Do anything for you. And it just blows my mind.
And probably that aspect of your life is one of the least interesting things about you as a human being.
Absolutely. Yes. We are so versatile. We're yin yang with leather and lace. We could be so many things. We are so many things.
Right.
And I'm very country. I preserve food. I'm a cook. I love the old vintage things. I love antiques. I am that person way back. I could pillage in Little House on the Prairie all day.
Oh, so if you know what hits the fan, we're heading to their house, because they're going to food.
Yes,
they're going to have
you
what
can be
we
safe
need
in my home with all kinds of ways. But people don't know that of me most of the time. Or she works in a majority man's world. A railroad. It's so seen as one note that they don't even try to get to know us or know more about us, or that we're allowed to be versatile. I'm allowed to be country because I'm gay.
Yeah. You don't.
Oh, well, how are you country, girl?
Yeah. And it's really amazing. And we'll move on to like the court cases. It's amazing, Colleen, you and I, who we have met in this space, that when they hit a certain age, they feel freer, or either there's just something that happens within them that they're like, I think I'm attracted to this person now. And I think I just love this person, regardless, it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. And we have talked to a lot of people, and that's just come up lately, that maybe things change during menopause, but it doesn't always. Happens to younger people too. But I do think it's important. I'm seeing so many younger people that just feel freer
Yes.
they just feel
And
freer.
finding there, we were stuck in a man woman thing, but
Mm-hmm.
also you love this way, you love that way. But the younger ones are finding ways that even I thought back in the day of it don't have to be about sex on some people too. They think pansexual. I
Right.
just love that person's heart. It's not about sex of any sort.
Right.
It's the person itself, and we thought like that, but we didn't have labels and we didn't have names. But the kids are finding more and more ways to even just be trans or be pansexual, be asexual, or anything. And I think we knew about that and we thought that way. We just didn't label it.
Right.
Right.
We didn't
Right.
have a name for it.
So
Yeah.
we're talking about being in a very country situation where neighbors know their neighbors. And then all of a sudden, you two are on the steps of the Supreme Court with Obergefell making marriage equality the law of the land. What was the reaction from people going, "Well, is that you? Like, Kim, is that you? Tammy, is that you?"
I think for me, well, like I said, I've been out for years. I'm out at work. My family, everybody that knows me knows. And everybody knew about the court case in our family and most of our friends. So for me, it was people were keeping up with it. People were watching, and there was excitement for us. And I think for her, she can talk more directly to that. But we have run into a few people, mainly her, because I'm relatively antisocial. But when we go out, being in a small town, it's like a family reunion every time she goes to any of the local stores or
That's the
so
thing.
she's more out and extrovert, and I'm not. That's our yin and yang part of it. But for me, it was everybody was happy for us, everybody was excited, everybody knew about it. But
I
for
think
her,
people thought, okay, that's where we're up over the hill. It's finally is in our face. They brought it out. We didn't know how to deal with it. They have brought it. Now we can all just sigh relief and go on with our lives of adjusting to that and enjoying it and having the emotions of it and feeling free. Like Bridget said, having that, oh, here we are. Now the girls have brought it out and we can all relax now because we knew good changes were going to come with different presidencies and we knew that Obama was on board, and we knew different people were just so elated because it's the time change. And that's when we thought, oh my God, we're here. People are celebrating. We're going to all be celebrating here, there, on out because we're going to have cool presidency. We're going to have cool people. We're going to have acceptance. And then it just knocked us completely straight down.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
can't even imagine your
No.
reaction. I mean, we were angry just from a personal perspective of it wasn't
Right.
who we had chosen, but this affects your life. Like
Oh my
all
God.
that you have done and
So much.
achieved. What was your first reaction when this election was finished and you knew who the president
Oh,
was?
well, we cried. We thought of our kids, and our grandkids, and it tears me up today because it's like I cannot believe it happened. I can't believe that this many people in the world in your face accepts you, but really deep down, do they? We didn't realize that as much as we do now. That people don't want to admit um, that they could have a better life and change and make changes through the Democrat, Republican. They didn't realize that they were selling themselves out. They were selling themselves short of evolving and finding people that they love, but they don't want it politically correct. They don't want it. They didn't want us to exist. There's people that does not want us to exist.
and for me, it came out with disbelief, went through all the emotions really. But
Yeah.
mine comes down to we fought this fight
Yeah.
once, we'll fight it again.
Mm-hmm.
We've been down this road. We've fought this fight. Now, will it be harder this time? I don't know. But we fought it once.
Yeah.
If we have to, we'll fight it again. And that's where I'm at with it. That yeah, it's not ideal. It's people coming after us in negative ways. But we've been down this road and we fought this fight and we won it. And if we have to, we'll do it again. And I feel like we'll win it again. Now, it'll be a different fight, maybe harder, but that's okay. We've been down this road before. We have to go again. Let's go.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, we don't have a choice, but because
Mhm.
of our own life and others, we're not going to just
Do
tuck
that.
and tail and go away.
That
And
was, yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah, go ahead, Kim, about your all's fight. Yeah.
well, I just saw an email pop up on my phone. There's a local museum in Louisville that's
Yeah.
doing a marriage in Kentucky exhibit
Yeah.
that we're going to be part of, and I just got an
Oh.
email from them. So
I'll send you the link and
Oh,
everything.
cool.
yeah,
Oh my
that's
gosh.
great.
Yay, Louisville.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
Louisville is a good
I
place.
know, I know, I know. It's the reaction to all of this, and like you said, we're gonna have to fight again. And Colleen, we just had Elizabeth Perkins on, and she was just talking about just healthcare. And I know, Tammy, that you have diabetes. She does as well. Elizabeth
I have a
Perkins does
rare
as well.
disorder. Yeah.
Yeah. And she was just talking about insulin, the cost of insulin. And she was just said, we're just going to have to get out there and fight. Our fight's not over as women, as people that are part of the LGBTQ community. Just all of these, we're going to have to fight.
Yeah.
And I know it's like, you all have gone all the way to the top of the hill.
Right. How
And
much
yeah,
further
you've
do we
gone to
gotta
the mountain,
go?
right? Mountain. And it's like, yes, it can be exhausting. And you all know that better than anybody, that is exhausting. But it's like,
Yes.
here we go. We're going to have to go again.
When the opinion came out and Clarence Thomas said, "Oh, I think we should revisit Obergefell."
Yeah.
I mean, what was your reaction to that? Because that just flew in the face of everything the Supreme Court had said previously.
Well, like I said, once he's in, I have this thing about reading people, and I have a savant, whatever. Kim freaks out about it all the time. But soon as we realized he won, I was like, oh my God, we're in trouble. Like we're in major trouble because he pinpoints what is the good of that has happened. Like he pinpoints where the source is of what he thinks he can demolish because he knows so many people want it. It's like he set out to hurt, not only destroy but hurt certain ones, just because I think he literally knew where to pinpoint things, and that's what he went after. Just like coming after the Obergefell, coming after, trans health. I mean, my God, why is he bothering it? Because he knows it's going to hurt people. He knows it's going to break it down. He knows there's so many other people involved with trans and LGBT, and he can't stand it. He can't control it. And I think that's hurts us the most because we knew right then what they were going to go after.
I mean, what they did to the abortion case,
Oh,
what they
yeah.
did there, I remember getting the text from Colleen that day that they came out with that. I was like, I didn't even
when
know
we had
enough.
more rights, when the women sitting here have more rights than our children do, there's something
Yes.
seriously
Yes.
wrong
Right.
that people need to stop and say, what is happening?
Well, women in general,
Mhm.
bank
Exactly.
accounts,
We're not going
husband,
we're
wife.
not going back to the 40s or 50s, so
No.
they need to get over that one. But, you know, when oftentimes when something bad happens, you can look to all the people who are creating the horror. But, I always think back to Mr. Rogers saying, look for the people who are coming to help.
The
Who
helpers.
have been
I'm
those
trying.
people coming to help you? Have you seen a younger generation kind of step up and say, no, we are not going back to this?
We
Who's
did
coming?
first, especially with Shelby County Pride. Bridget, you probably know because it was a few and far. A friend of ours had started the first one. You knew who she was.
Mhm.
Then the younger girls that we know are so well started it. And it became the second one, then the third one. It was getting so big and it was so nice, and I was so excited. We was putting it in their face in a good way, because the two girls that started it are just amazing. But she was reserved a little bit. She didn't like to ruffle feathers of the certain people in town.
Weren't originally from here.
Yeah. And so she didn't really know. And so she would come with me and I'd be on the board with her and we would talk and I would tell her different things. And then all of a sudden it just pushed them back. It pushed them out. They stopped. We're not even do Pride this year because they're so pushed back. And they're like, we can't keep fighting it like that. Money wise, support. We did a parade and it was nobody hardly there. And it's like we're trying to do the things to push through to show that we're still here, but you've got people that take it away and they're scared to push it any further. So we suffer with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the younger people, in any community and in any issue, there's a core group that want to push it forward. And, it gets down to, and you hear this referred to other things, is it a moment or a movement?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we have more moments in our case than movements. Will that change at some point? I don't know. They've came for other people, other groups, they're coming for transgender and, what do they care? Okay.
And like what Kim said too, when the Congress in 2 years or a year now can change maybe something, that might be another leap of start back to getting the young people and everybody seeing that there's changing. Because if they don't see it, they're so visual, the younger kids. If they don't understand a lot of the politics or listen and take time. So visually, I don't think they see it, so they back off. And I think maybe once visually, if maybe the Congress changes in a year, that is a start.
That maybe it'll be accepted. I know, Colleen, you shared, and I've seen this going on on the social media for the past few days. The man in Texas that addressed the legislature. Was it the Texas legislature or was it? Yes.
Yeah.
Did you see that as well, where he's just saying, you're picking, it's kind of like what you were saying, finding a new person to bully. So right now you're going to bully transgender, you're going to bully the LGBTQ community. Yes. Before you were bullying women, then you were bullying Black people. Then, so it's like you're just keep trying to find someone to bully.
Yes.
Which it is bizarre to me. The humanity part of it all
that's what gets me.
It's bizarre. But, before all this happened, you all got to go to the White House. So we're going to talk a little bit about, how many years ago? That was like 1 or 2 years ago.
It was the Respect for Marriage Act.
Okay.
2022, maybe?
2023.
I think it was 2022 or 2023?
2023 is when I broke my ankle.
Oh, okay. So
2022,
I thought it was 2022, but I wasn't sure.
Okay.
I have to remember things in my head by stupid things I did to hurt myself. In 2023,
don't we all?
I had a broken ankle, so it was in 2022.
It was before the broken ankle. Okay.
But when that happened, I actually was at a doctor's appointment, and my phone rang, and it was a weird number, and it said DC, but it didn't have a name. It just said Washington DC area code, and I just hit mute. I muted it, and it called again. I hit mute. And I was about 10 minutes from finishing my appointment. And I don't know, it was like 4:30 or something in the afternoon. And as soon as I got out of the appointment, Tammy had texted me while I was in there, call me as soon as you can. So as soon as I got out, I called her. And she's like, did you get a phone call? I said, well, I got a couple, but I just muted them because I didn't know who it was. It wasn't a number I recognized. She said, that was the friggin' White House. They called me too. I said, what did I do? She
And I'm
said,
so dyslexic. If I get going fast, I mean, I can talk your head off, but I am so dyslexic. So she was giving me all this information. I was like, oh my God, I gotta have Kim. Where's my Kim? I gotta get Kim. But she said this, then this, but I roll it all together. And Kim's like, oh my God, I gotta cipher this out.
yeah. And like I said, it was like 4:30, and I was like 25 minutes from home. And Tammy's like, we're supposed to call them at 5 o'clock. And this was like a Friday afternoon.
Oh
We got to
no.
call them at 5 o'clock and tell them whether or not we're interested. And it was going to happen, I think, on like a Tuesday or Wednesday
Yeah, we
the
didn't get
next
much.
week. So we had no time really. So I'm like, okay, I'll be home. I'll be home right at 5, but I'll go on and call them and tell them that we'll call them back when we get together. So I rushed home and jumped on another phone call. And at first I'm like, yeah, right. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's what it turned out to be that we were being invited. It was real short notice. And of course we scrambled. I called my boss that same afternoon about 6:30 or something. And like, look, I'm going to need some time off. And here's what's going on. And he's like, "Oh yeah, do what you got to do." So
Wow.
there was all
Who would
kinds
say no to the White
I know.
House?
Right.
I know. I would right now.
Well, that,
I ain't
yeah.
going nowhere near
Touche.
it.
Touche on that.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
So we
Yeah.
scrambling. Are we driving? Are we flying? I got to get hotels, and it was just a mad scramble uh, for a
But
few days.
it was the most amazing thing to just be in there.
Oh my
Just to
gosh.
be on them steps and walk in there out of the utmost respect. At that time, I was just in awe. I was
Hmm.
so respectful. I love being not submissive, but I'm very respectful to things like that. And it was so nice. And we got to meet him. He is the most fit
Hmm. Yeah.
person back then. I
Yeah.
mean, and I didn't realize how tall he was. He's like what, 6'4", 6'3"?
He's tall.
He's tall. I did not
Very
realize that.
tall.
I didn't
Because
realize that.
when we're standing there, he walks, after the signing.
Hmm.
I'll just go to that real quick. After the signing, we got to stand out there, and he wanted to meet the Obergefell plaintiffs. And there was 4 sets of us there.
Poor thing.
And we waited in line. They said, wait right here. He's going to come around. Harris will come around. But she went the other way, but we got to say hi, but we didn't get to talk to her.
Hmm.
But he came around and he's shaking our hands. And this country girl, what did I say? I went, I just love you. I was
For you.
He went, well,
Hey.
I love you too.
Oh.
And he took my camera and did the selfie up himself. He's real tall, was real fit. He gave me a hug.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I just respect you so much. You just don't know. And
Hmm.
he shook my hand, patted me, though you could feel the
Like
grandpa
a
love,
like a dad or something. Yeah. Yeah.
And then Jill, Dr. Jill, she came and she shook her hands. She went quick because she was cold. She went back
It was
in, she said.
December. Yeah.
But that part was amazing to see that. And we got to see Mary Bonato, who actually did our case
Mhm.
to the Supreme Court, read our case off, right?
Mhm.
And we got to meet her, and she hugged us. We had seen her before, but in that atmosphere, it was different.
Right. Hmm.
As the 10-year mark starts coming up, what are your thoughts now versus when we talked to you 5 years
ago?
And
Roller coaster, like you said, yeah.
do you feel like you've taken a step back, or you're still moving
As we
forward?
get older, and like you say, there's so many younger people now, and LGBTQA, trans, everything. There's so much more that we feel like we're like stepping back a little. Not really stepping back for the rights and the fight, but our life is a little different than the young ones, and we can run around and we can do everything, and we can go everywhere, we can meet at everything. And now we're just trying to enjoy 20 years that we might have together as a gay couple the best we can without feeling like we're watched, scared. This year's Pride, we're kind of scared. You
Hmm.
don't know. It's
I
really
mean,
scary.
we had to fight in Franklin, where we are. We had to fight like they weren't going to do Pride
Right.
this
I
year.
think if
We're not
I'm
even sure if we want to go. We're
Uh-huh.
well,
scared.
that's the worst part, is that people are afraid to be around
Yes.
because they don't know what's going to happen. And
No.
I think for our pride, they actually, the two biggest funding companies pulled out. That was the
Yeah.
biggest problem. And that makes me sad when corporations
Yeah, because
are
of the DI,
take
and stuff.
Yes.
And it's pulling so many people.
Tammy has a vanity plate that references equality. And she's like, I don't know if I want to keep that vanity plate. I think I just want to go back to
Because
regular
people are
license
revving their
plate.
motors up, truck
Yeah.
drivers,
Yeah.
truckers,
Vandalize your
employees.
vehicle. Yeah.
They
I mean,
do.
yeah,
Seriously.
it
It's kind of
is.
scary, driving down the road and they're revving up their motor. And I'm thinking, is it because of my plate? Is it, I got gay things hanging from it. I'm a Jeep. I got a Jeep girl, I got
Yeah.
gay ducks in my,
Yeah.
So it's like, are they going to pinpoint me?
It's very, I know another thing that seems to have happened um, that just blew my mind is the younger, and I'm not saying all males are like this, but the group of the younger males, this whole thing with the younger males, that has blown my mind because I really felt that, okay, this younger generation's going to come up and they're going to be freer and they're going to say these things.
It's not.
And then you have this group that it's very strange. So
like Trump is their savior.
yeah, and they're all into the Joe Rogan stuff and the
Yes.
and this thing, and I don't understand that. It makes me frightened. Now I feel like I don't know, like my children are 32 and
Yes.
29, so they're older.
Yeah.
So like my son's like he's not part of that group, thank God, and most of the young men I know are not part of that group, but that is a scary thing too. And I can't wrap my head around. I guess we just have to keep fighting and getting out there. But safety is a scary thing. Like we're scared. Like you said, you're nervous to go to Pride because of safety.
That's it. Yeah.
Because of safety. I mean, like I had my signs up in my neighborhood, and it was a little bit nerve-wracking because where I live, it's very different. They would get on families that had their rainbow flags up.
Yes.
And in our neighborhood, I mean, it's like so silly, like this whole HOA thing.
But people can lose their life over it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that kind of thing is very scary. And I don't know, do you know of anything that's like any groups that I know there's Pride, but do you know of anything that people can do to stand behind to just make this go forward, to make people feel safe in this space?
Isn't that the $1 million question? How do you make people feel safe to live their best life?
Yeah.
If we weren't in a red state, we could help, pull other people in. But when you're in a red city and state, who are we pulling in? We can't just go out of state and find people and do things because we're older. We've got kids, we've got grandkids, we've got 2 great grandkids now. And
congratulations.
Yeah, and our life has evolved around that. But we want to help the others, but there's no one around here. So, as far as I say, other people that aren't in a red state, pull from your fairness companion, campaign, pull from any kind of group, trans group that helps the trans with like fairness and ACLU for what they do. But it's so big that they expect the town or the states to help with that. But when you're in a red state, you don't have a choice.
And the schools,
Yeah.
The gay alliances in schools, make sure they are supported.
But when you're in a red town, what kind of Shelby
do.
County does it look like,
Yeah. I mean,
and that's when the local, so many kids are getting their news from TikTok, from Instagram. And this is when local elections, county elections, they matter.
It really does. And we didn't realize how much, we do, but we didn't know how much that was going to be trickle down. And it has trickled down bad.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I don't think anybody realized that until it goes bad.
Yeah.
That elections have consequences, huge consequences, even local elections.
Yes.
Because local, and then you get into state elections, they can set laws that if they aren't fair, then you got to fight them, whether it's the state Supreme Court or federal Supreme Court. And that's typically a long, drawn out fight.
Yeah.
Ours was very expedited. And people even made that comment when it was going on, is that the Supreme Court took our case very quickly.
Yes.
But it doesn't usually happen that way. It's usually sometimes even a generational thing.
That's why we thought it would always go so well, because it was that way.
Right.
But if we slide back, then we got to fight it again. That's why I say go into the schools and back to the young men, typically young white men. I think it's a couple of things going on. One, I think it's a bullying, that if they don't let their testosterone show, that they get bullied and they get called names, and they don't want to do that. They want to be part of something. That Joe Rogan group, that's a UFC, it's a part of something that feels manly to them. We've got a nephew that is just out of high school, getting ready to move to Vegas. He wants to anyway, to be a UFC fighter. Now, he's not that way, but he has a way about him that he can stand up to people. Most young men won't. So even if they show any kind of thought or consideration to another group, let's say a gay kid, then they get bullied, and they,
well, it shows now when people are in sports and just now coming out, 30, 40-year-old men, soccer, basketball, whatever, just now starting to come out again. We're there for a while, nothing happened because, again, we didn't know where it was going to go. Now they're coming out because, like you say, we were so mad right now that we're not thinking straight about moving forward.
Right.
And we need to. We got to get out of that oppressive that he's putting us in.
And that's what you're saying. It's representation. Representation matters so much. It's the people like Taylor Swift, Bruce Springsteen, that are coming out and getting bullied for it, but they don't care because they have such huge platforms.
Right.
And that's why we need to look at it again. And we're trying.
Right. Right.
And I was always, even in school, I was, if you show me the bully, I become the bully. I always hated bullies.
But look, Bridget, you'll have to look her up because she was in the future businesses,
leaders,
all the FBLA kids. She was the brainiac. She was at the vocabulary school, but nobody messes with Kim.
But I hated bullies.
Yeah.
And if I saw somebody, I was that kind. If I saw a kid being bullied, I would just walk right up to the bully and say, I heard you were talking about me. And they'd say, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about so-and-so. Well, they're my friends. So if you're bullying them, it's the same as me. That was just my way. I just hated a bully. I still
wish
do.
everyone was like that.
You gotta stand up. You gotta stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
Yeah,
that's right.
Love that.
And we're, when Tammy talks about we're not doing that much, we're trying to do as much as we can, but we're also trying to be supportive to those, again, that come behind us. We fought this fight. We'll fight it again if we have to, but it's really becoming your fight too.
Passing the baton. Yeah.
Right.
We've got 20 years or so probably left in our life, at least 20 reasonably good years. You've got 50 or something.
Yes.
Go
it's your turn.
Fight with us.
Yeah.
We're right here, and we'll be right here beside you and behind you, but you got to stand up too. And that's, I think, where we're at too.
Yeah. Just passing the baton, and
we need a lot more Kims. We need a lot more Kims in the school system and in government.
We do. Yeah, we certainly do, because that's what's happening right now. And Tammy, like you said, this oppression, that's what I feel like that there's just something like you try to go on to your day, you try to be happy, but you can't. I feel like I can't be 100% happy.
No.
And like my life, like my little whatever life I'm in, cocoon, things aren't directly affecting me. Well, they are because I'm a woman, but that how can I always feel like I cannot be truly happy when I see other people
Absolutely.
this happening to other people.
Right.
And it's mean, and it's bullying, it's mean, it's affecting your health, it's affecting it could affect, like
It
you said,
does.
if they did away with this and something happened to one of you.
Yeah,
And
because we've
yeah,
been talking about that. What if this happens? What if it happens? What are we going to do right now?
Mm.
What's on your mind? Because I want to know. Because I know what's on
right.
my mind. Is because my first reaction was, we're getting the hell up out of here. We're going to move.
I know.
But then where does that leave us? We lose our kids. They can't follow us. And are we going to be happy because we're so emotionally attached to life and what we've accomplished?
Mm-hmm.
But yet we're going to have to run
Right. Right.
And you
have
shouldn't
some-
have to go anywhere.
You
You've
shouldn't
earned
have
this
to.
life.
You have.
You have
but
earned
to
to
stay
enjoy it.
married, we'll
Right.
never get a divorce. We'll
Right.
never. I don't care if it's for the show or what it looks like, or let's get married and marry back again. No,
Mhm.
we're not doing it. That's
Yeah.
one promise that we'll have between us two, is that will never happen.
Yeah.
So if we have to get up out of here for 2 or 3 years, we may have to.
Mhm.
Because we literally have that on our heads, and we'll just take a long vacation
I know.
somewhere. A friend of mine did move to Portugal, and she is so happy. She's
I
so
mean,
happy.
believe me, I myself I have been looking, like trying
I
to get
know.
Italian citizenship
Yeah.
and whatever.
Finally got it, and it's
I don't
Yeah.
think they want us anymore.
They
They're
don't
like,
want
no,
us. I
keep
know.
because
your
there's
people.
so many people taking off and coming
But,
now.
yeah.
They're
causing
like
more
the
trouble.
Canadians are like, no,
Oh gosh, no.
stay where you're
I
at.
know.
Yeah.
I know.
We
But
we've
just
been
say,
nice for you to come over, but now stop.
I know.
Right.
I
We get
know.
it because we understand what we're going through here. We don't want to take it and burden others too.
I know. And it's
Exactly.
just, I think about, like, if your health insurance, I think about if you should, one of you goes in the hospital or
I know.
something
And see,
happens,
we didn't make a will yet because we were going through marriage equality, and we didn't have a lawyer to do that. We had marriage equality lawyers,
Right.
but our personal wills and testaments and stuff, that is like $5, $6, $7,000 just to get a will made real quick
Huh.
to keep us safe
Mm-hmm.
for all our stuff to be on it. And we didn't think, I mean, we should have already done that kind of stuff, but we were so wrapped up into everything else and everybody else, we just didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're doing it. Now we're frantically trying to figure out a way to do it
Right.
because we don't know what the frick's going to happen to us.
Right.
Right.
And that's the thing that kills me about all of this, is so many people, what is happening to so many people. And then I worry so much about the younger people that want to feel safe and
I
they want to be
know.
seen, and they to decrease. We don't want suicides in young people. We don't want them, because they feel different, to kill
No.
themselves because of that.
And about age and stuff too. These
Right.
young people think these older people, oh, they're the old people, so they don't get it.
Yeah.
But my son's friend, they have come out
Mhm.
as transgender, and they're in their 30s. And the first thing he said was to my son Sam was, I want to come over dressed a certain way, but I don't want to be disrespectful, or I don't want them to tell me no. And I'm
Mhm.
like, Sam, you go get that boy right now and you bring him in this house. Bring them
Yeah.
in this house of however they want to be in this house. Because that his first initial thought was, well, you're older, they may not get it. But we
Mhm.
do,
Mhm.
and the older people are trying to teach. And once he came, I was like, boy, girl, don't you feel 1 second that you're not welcome in this house, and everyone should welcome you, whoever you present yourself as.
And they even said that to me one time. They came up the steps, but they stopped. And, I could hear from where I was sitting movement coming up the steps. And finally they came right to the top of the steps, but they heard voices in the house. And they said, well, I didn't know if I could, because they were dressed the way they felt comfortable. I didn't know if I could come up here. I said, let me tell you something. In this house, if
Mhm.
anybody makes you feel uncomfortable or not who you want to be, I'll make them leave. You will leave, they will leave.
Yeah.
So just know that you can be whoever you feel like you want to be in this house. And we've got other kids in our family that are transgender. And even though within this house we can tell them, and this goes back to community and the way things are now, even within this house, we can tell them, you're safe here. You can talk, you can tell us whatever. And, typically they'll talk to Tammy more than they will me, and because she's the emotional one, and that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. But within this house, we definitely want to make sure they know they're safe. But once they walk out this front door and go down this driveway, I can't control that.
Yeah.
They always know they can come back here. They always know they're safe here. But the world and the county and the city and the state doesn't make them feel that way. So we,
So
you
sad.
talk about young people
But I don't
suicide.
think that's even going to change, because we went through whatever we went through, or our generation went through. The kid being the nasty bully, or not coming out. I think it's just different of what they have to go through. In the same way of us being terrified of something, or people not accepting us as emos, or back then, or accepting that, we wanted to color our hair, or not wear a skirt, or I think that's kind of thing that people just won't accept, no matter where
It is. Sometimes it can be like someone they love dearly. You hope that if it's someone they love dearly and they see and it breaks through, sometimes that doesn't happen.
Right.
Sometimes they reject how it
I wish
does.
I could fix them all and tell them all that.
I know. It's a scary time. But
we just got to get out of this.
We got to get out. And you're all passing the baton, but you're also there as kind of like a guide.
You could be the advisors.
But you're all there as the guide. It's 10 years. Still legal right now. It's going to remain still legal.
Right.
And people, we've got to, people, we all know what's right.
And like you said,
it's right.
We have to fight. We get in that mundaneness of being so upset.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
We are those people that are extra about being different and being out there. So we want to get out there. We're just still so mad. We want to get over that. Because we are the Bruce Springsteens, the Cher and everything. We want to be those people.
But never doubt that we'll fight this fight again.
Yeah.
Don't take our kindness for weakness.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Kim, you have the best quotes. Oh my God.
We know which clips we're picking, right?
I got chills just then. But
thank you guys so much for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Hopefully 5 years from
we
now.
love you guys. We love your podcast. We love what you all do and the people that you all have pulled in, and for your sake and for everybody's sake. I love seeing who you have on there. And I'll get so excited of the certain ones. I'll be like, oh my God, she's got a little house on prairie. Oh my God. And you all, and her as a lawyer, and you being so eloquent in everything that you all do. I love it. I love your quirkiness.
First time anybody's ever called me eloquent.